We are back in the house, y'all. Back in the
Yes,
house.
sir. Here we are. Who are we again? Oh, Clay from Brooklyn. Football with the fellas. And who am I here with?
It's your man Mazo. It's all about Big Blue, baby. All about Big Blue.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Hey, it's free agent season again. We keep talking
It's
about that.
rolling. It's rolling. All kinds of moves being made.
Big time moves. Big time. It's kind of amazing that don't you wish, first of all, in the draft that the Giants were picking higher than 3, but in between us thinking about the draft, there's these guys that I didn't even think about. We have so many needs. Put that way.
So many needs.
So
We are
many.
needy.
And I was like, when I thought that, and correct me if I'm wrong, the free agency period opened yesterday.
Yes,
on Monday. On Monday, right?
Right.
But Wednesday is the official
Right.
signing
So this
day.
is the legal tampering time when you can negotiate. And of course, they've been negotiating, I'm sure, for months, but they couldn't talk about it. So now you
Okay.
can negotiate openly, and you can even announce what you've done, which is what we're hearing. Right? We're hearing all these trades and these free agent signings, but technically none of them have happened yet.
Okay.
None
Okay.
of them
Gotcha.
happened until Wednesday at 4 o'clock. That's when the league year starts. So the only thing that actually I take that back. The only thing that can happen now is you can re-sign or extend your own players,
Okay.
right? So if we wanted to, which we did, like
We did.
we re-signed Darius Slayton, and some teams renegotiate deals on players they already have. Myles Garrett, for example. So those are actually happening. They have happened. Those are official,
And it's legal. It's
and
fine.
that's legal. But anybody who wants to change teams or any trades between teams, that technically doesn't take place until Wednesday.
So you mean like the players they said that the Giants have signed, that means what now? That means we
Nothing.
haven't we haven't officially
Well,
signed them?
we have not officially signed them. And in theory, they could back out of it. But I don't see that as likely. For example, DK Metcalf he's really still on Seattle. He's
Technically
actually
is.
not traded yet. But we know he's going to be traded, and they're not going to, pull the rug out from underneath that. What could happen theoretically if somebody were to get hurt or, arrested or something that, would make the trade voidable. It hasn't happened yet. So then it would be negated if it happens before Wednesday at 4 o'clock. But,
Okay.
in
Okay.
good faith, teams negotiate and announce things, and they're going to do them.
And they all got to pass the physical, so that's another avoidable.
If you're trading a player, yes, yes.
I got you. Okay. Okay. Ooh, okay.
And that even after Wednesday at 4 o'clock, that would still be the case. If somebody made a trade Thursday and the guy failed the physical, then that would negate the
Got
trade.
it. Got it. So
But listen, I'm not a Joe Shane fan, right? You know I will always hold against him number 26. And I don't want to get into that. I'll just say I'm never inviting Joe Shane to house for Thanksgiving. He's not, no.
never,
He can't
ever.
come to the barbecue. He's not getting the Christmas, none of that.
Never,
But
ever.
in fairness, I like some of the moves he's made. I'm a fan of bringing back Darius Slayton, for example. What did you think about that?
I do like that. I think Slayton I want to see him with a good quarterback because I think he could have gotten, definitely more, more looks his way. I think, and he's a tall receiver, so we definitely need a taller receiver. I think
And
it's
he's
a good,
not
it's solid number
slow.
2.
He's not slow. I mean, this
No.
man, a 4.39 coming out of Auburn, I mean, that was several years ago, but I'm sure he's not, running fives. I'm sure he's still in the 4.4s. Yeah, no, he has his drops issues from time to time, although he's gotten better over his career about that. But yeah, no, I like him. I mean, I think he's a 3 on a good team, but he can be a 2. Like, he's not a bad 2. I think he's a very good 3 and not a bad 2.
But him coming back, it throws the question in my mind: what do they think of Jalen Hyatt? Does that mean he?
That is the question.
That's the part that gets me. It's like, does that mean Jalen Hyatt should be thinking, all right, I might get cut, or I'm
Traded.
definitely not going to see the field at all?
But you know what? Two things. First of all, there's always injuries. Like no team goes through the whole year without any injuries. So I'm not going to say he won't get any burn. I'll just say when everybody's healthy, he'll get less burn than maybe he would have liked. But also, listen, there's times when they go 3 wide, 4 wide. Like, there's times when Neighbors just had a long catch and needs to come off the field for a play or two catches, but he's going to get his opportunities. I mean, unless we draft another wide receiver that's even better than him, but somebody else is going to get some opportunities besides Neighbors, Slayton, and Wan'Dale Robinson.
And they should. I'm sorry, but they should. They really should. They really should. So, now what do you think of that guy? No, I'm gonna say Paulson, a
Paulson
Debo.
Adebo.
That's the guy. Isn't that
That's
the
the guy.
guy?
I've been lobbying for him since August.
Oh man, what I can't remember, and I should have had it ready. The which episode it was that you talked about that? So our
It
people
might have been
go
the
back.
first one. Certainly one of the first few. Back in August, I was saying we should have traded Darius Slayton for Paulson Adebo before the season even started. And now we have them both. And I didn't think we were going to have either one of them. And now we have them both.
And then all of a sudden, the secondary is looking really tough now. And
That
look,
secondary is looking for real. And they're all young. They're all
yes.
24, 25, 26 years old. This is going to be a good secondary for a while. And I really like that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I like those moves. I really like those moves.
Yes.
There's one that it hasn't been consummated yet. And I know how you feel about this already.
Uh-oh.
But I think he's playing us is that guy Rogers.
The quarterback.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that
think
guy.
he's just using us to drive up the price at Pittsburgh.
I think the same thing. That's what I was going to say. I think the same thing. There's no way if I got DJ, Metcalf and with George Pickens, and I'm talking the Steelers weren't that
And
bad.
Mike Tomlin, the coach.
Right. I'm why?
They go to the playoffs almost every year.
Right. So I'm going to do what? I'm going to go to the Giants. Nah, I can't. I can't see him doing that. I
Can't
can't
see
see him doing it at all.
Can't see it. So
But,
yeah, I think he was using us to drive up the price.
oh yeah, and and that's the one thing that's funny is that Shane is like he's playing both sides of it now. He's done a great job so far in like getting like these young. I like the secondary. I love the secondary right now.
Yeah.
But he still wants that home run. They still want that big home run, so they're going for the name. They're going for the name. And so it's not going to be Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be gone, like you said. He's going to Pittsburgh. They'll pick a day. He's going to go, and we're going to be. I don't like using the word stuck, but we're going to be left with. Let me see who's left. Who's
I
left?
mean, there's still Russell Wilson. There's still
Russell
James
Wilson.
Winston. There's still Marcus Mariota. I mean, there's still quarterbacks available. Jimmy G went back to the Rams
Yeah,
for no money, right? He went back for $4 million. I don't understand that at all, but whatever.
he feel like moving.
I guess right. Maybe his family was like, "We like it here. We're gonna stay here. We got enough money." But yeah, no, you're right. I don't like the idea of settling either, but honestly, I didn't want any of the big ticket guys. So from my perspective, that's not settling. That's plan A.
Well, it's going to be a Russell Wilson thing, and he's definitely if they're gonna if we get Russell Wilson, then we definitely got to draft a guy. We definitely got
Oh, we have to draft a guy anyway. I don't care who we get. We have to draft a guy. Now,
right.
it may not have to be in the first round, but we have to draft a guy. We can't leave this draft with no quarterback.
Oh, hey, speaking of which, and it's funny. Here we go. Now I'm gonna get you to really think about this one, and then you might say, Mazo, you're just out of your mind. But I'm looking at if the Giants don't move up in the draft, because a lot of talk about us moving up in the draft to get Cam Ward. If we don't move up and we stay at number 3, now I'm going to ask this question. Who would you pick? Say 2 quarterbacks go 1 and 2.
It doesn't matter. If Cam Ward goes, I'm not picking a quarterback.
There you go. That's what I'm at. So Cam Ward's off the table.
No
On the table now at 3, would you pick Abdul Carter?
He's the only one I would pick.
Would you pick? But what about Travis Hunter?
There are 2 people, and only 2 people, that I would pick at 3, unless I can't find someone to trade with me. Right? It takes 2 to tango. if nobody will give me any value, then I'm going to be forced to. So to me, the worst case scenario is that Cam Ward and Abdul Carter go 1 and 2, which I happen to think is the most likely scenario. But that's the worst case scenario because those are the only two people I want at number 3 overall. And so if those two go, I want to trade down.
You mean you don't want Travis Hunter?
And now if no one will trade with me, I'll take Travis Hunter. Like Travis Hunter would be the pick I would make if I couldn't pick Ward, I couldn't pick Carter, and I couldn't trade down. If I'm stuck with the 3rd overall pick, Travis Hunter. And I like Travis Hunter, don't get me wrong. In fact, a best case scenario is I trade down to like the Raiders at 6 or the Jets at 7, and Travis Hunter's still on the board, and I take him there. But I've added a 2nd round pick in this round in this draft and next year's draft.
He
That
wouldn't
would
make
be
it
the
that
best
far
case
down.
scenario. No, he's not going to fall that far. But I'm saying, you asked me, would I take Travis Hunter? Sure, I'm happy to take Travis Hunter. Just I'd rather not take him at 3.
Do you know what type of defensive backfield the Giants would have then? If we can actually, it's funny. We could have, and this is one of my mocks. I had us drafting Travis Hunter, and then please give me say his name for me.
Nick Emanwari.
Thank you. And I asked you earlier about that, and then we can have Nicky Mamori. We can have him. I can't even see the guy's name. We'll have him in the back, have him in the defensive backfield, and then we can actually use Travis Hunter on the opposite side of the ball.
Right. He could be the occasional defensive player and play mostly offense. By the way, you know how I remember Nick's last name? Do you remember the Jimmy Castor Bunch, the funk band back in the 70s?
Yeah.
They had a song called E-Man Boogie. That's what I'm gonna call Nick. If we draft him, he's gonna be E-Man Boogie.
E-Man Boogie.
E-Man Worry.
I like it. I like it. That would be a super backfield. Oh my goodness.
But I'll be honest, I would love that, but we have so many other needs.
Yeah.
And our defensive backfield looks good now. I mean, it's on paper and they're young and they're going to make their mistakes, but by mid-season and late season and certainly by 2026, Tay Banks and Paulson Adebo as the outside corners, Drew Phillips in the slot, Javon Holland and Tyler Nubin at safety. Honestly, I don't know that we even need Emanwari and Hunter anymore. I'm not saying I would turn them down, but honestly, I would almost at this point rather have Jihad Campbell or Jalen Walker, who are linebackers.
Yeah,
Walker is both an inside and edge rush linebacker. He can play both. And Jihad Campbell is just a beast middle linebacker because that level needs more help. Right. And of course, another big bodied 320 plus pound defensive tackle to put next to Dexter. So as much as honestly, it might make more sense for us to trade down to 5 or 6 and take Mason Graham.
Ooh.
And put Mason Graham next to Dexter because of the way the backfield is taking shape now.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about that. Now that would be And that's funny. Then we were getting back to like old big blue football then. That would be oh man, this team would be made over real quick. Real quick.
And I'm here for it. Like I want Cam Ward, right? If Cam Ward's available, I want Cam Ward. Let me just make that clear. I'm not saying I don't want Cam Ward. I want Cam Ward. But I think Tennessee's taking Cam Ward. Barring a ridiculous overpay, like we're going to give them pick number 3, a first round pick in 26 and 27. Like that's ridiculous. But barring something ridiculous, I think they're just going to pick Cam Ward. So if they do, and I love me some Abdul Carter, I would be happy to take Abdul Carter. But again, I think the defensive tackle need is bigger than the edge rusher need right now. Let me put it this way. Kayvon Thibodeau is a better edge setter and pass rusher than the rest of our interior defensive linemen are at their job, right? He's better at his job than DJ Davidson and Nacho and Jordan Riley and those guys are at defensive tackle. So if you ask me, where's the biggest improvement needed is at defensive tackle.
Yeah, so I can see the trading down for, and that would work.
Yeah, Mason Graham perhaps could fall to 6 or 7. He may not. He may go third or fourth himself. But I'm just saying, if you're going to trade down, if Mason Graham and Travis Hunter are both on the board at 6, let's say we traded with the Raiders, although they just got a quarterback, so that seems less likely. But let's just say we traded with them. If Mason Graham and Travis Hunter are both on the board, I mean, I love me some Travis Hunter, but Mason Graham may make the team better.
Where the Patriots at?
They're fourth,
They're four.
right? It's Patriots 4, Jacksonville 5, Raiders 6, Jets 7, Carolina 8, New Orleans 9, Chicago 10. That's the top 10.
So would we trade back one spot to because they want Travis Hunter if he was available.
I think they have several needs. I think they might take Ted McMillan. They got Drake May and they need to give him some weapons. So I could see them saying, you know what, I'll just take the best receiver in the class. So I don't know what they're going to do, but I don't think they think that they need to move up to help their team. Like they need their draft picks. They've got a ton of money. They had the most money in the league. That's why they went out and made all these signings. Um, Speaking of which, you know who got pretty well paid?
Not, I know what you're gonna say. Daniel.
Daniel Jones
He's
signed
with the
with
Colts,
Indy.
right? The Colts.
He signed with the Colts, which is where I said Aaron Rodgers should have went. He signed with the Colts for $14 million. $14 million.
He's not gonna be. I thought about that when I saw that dollar amount. I go, they're signing him to start.
They're starting him to start. That's not backup money.
No, that's not
Jimmy G
backup
got
money.
$4 million for backup money. Zach Wilson got $6 million. If I'm Jimmy G, I'm firing my agent. If Zach Wilson got $6 million and I got $4 million, I'm getting a new agent. But that's backup money. 14 million is no, no, we want you to start. I mean, we're not going to overpay you because you haven't done anything in a while, but we want you to start.
I can't believe it. I just can't believe Daniel Jones. I believe he got another contract. I just can't. And a starter at that. He's going to be
Listen,
a starter. He's going to be a starter.
probably he probably will beat out Anthony Richardson if they might even trade Anthony Richardson, but he'll probably start week 1 in Indianapolis. And you know what? I ain't mad at him. I ain't mad at him. He wasn't the answer for us,
Right.
but it's not his fault. Remember John Koncak in the
Oh,
NBA
yeah.
when they overpaid him, they gave him like this 3-year, $15 million contract, which back then was like $1 billion. And he was
Right.
like, "What was I supposed to do? Turn the money down?"
Right.
That was his famous quote. Well, I was supposed to turn the money down. They offered me this money. I signed the contract. Yes, sir. Give me my 15 million. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. You don't turn that money down. You don't say, well, you know what? Saquon really is better than me. Please don't give me this $160 million contract.
Right.
But Saquon is really the heart and soul of the team. No, you sign the contract and say thank you.
Go like this, right?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've been waiting on this. Where do I sign?
Exactly. All right. Wow.
So I ain't mad at him. I ain't mad at him.
Nah, not at all. Now we signed DeVito.
Yes, we have
We
a
need
quarterback. We have
yes,
to
we
be
got
that.
a quarterback
We
on.
won't have to play
Wait,
10
no,
on 11. We do have a
he's three.
quarterback.
He's number three. So it just need,
He's number 1 now. We don't have
oh, God,
he's
no.
number all now.
You're
The
right.
only quarterback on the roster. But yes, the plan is for him to be number 3. I'm fairly sure that's the plan. I mean, if we don't sign any of these guys, he may wind up number 2, and whoever we draft would be number 1. But that seems like a very unlikely scenario.
We're gonna sign. They're gonna go for a name. They're gonna go for a name, and they're gonna and and I'm praying that they don't. If they get Rodgers, don't get the guys. Is gonna use up all our cap money just to sign him.
Well, that's my point. And not only is he using all the cap money, but he sucks all the air out the room. Like, it just becomes the Aaron Rodgers show. And I'm not down for that. I'm not down for that at all. I wouldn't be down for that if he was still very good and we were going to win games. I certainly am not down for it on a 3-14 team that he may make 6-11. Like, we also have one of, if not the hardest schedules in the league next year. So
Oh
no
yeah.
matter who the quarterback is, we're going to be up against it every week.
Oh man. See, yeah. And I was remember I was for definitely for getting Aaron Rodgers. I'm just thinking about it, but then now Devontae Adams is not going to come with him because I'm
No,
thinking if we're going to get him, let's get a whole package of these guys in here.
yeah,
And but
but
no,
Adams is
now
gone. D Hop is even gone. He signed with somebody. So
Cooper Cup is available.
Cooper Cup is probably available. That's true. And listen, I wouldn't be again. There are people who I wouldn't mind adding. I just don't want a $40 million, 40-year-old quarterback.
Who's
I
going
don't.
to suck the wind out of it?
It just kills the spirit. It kills the locker room. And our locker room isn't good as it is. Like we let all our leaders and best players leave. You
Yeah.
know, Leonard Williams is gone. Xavier McKinney is gone. Julian Love is gone. Saquon is gone. Like all the guys that actually are very good and were like vocal leaders gone. And they really underestimated that impact on the team. I think they really just were doing like the the computer simulation, like we're playing fantasy football or something, and
Right,
not
right,
actually
right.
realizing these are grown men you know, that build relationships together and have a spirit and a camaraderie.
I wish, the owner would have canned these guys, or like Shane had got rid of him, and even Dabo, if Dabo had to go, but at least would have got rid of the guys. But like they're like lame duck, and
Right, right.
they're not made right now for what the team is really realistically going through. You know,
Which is why I give Shane credit for what he has done this week so far. And again, I'm not here to defend Shane, usually,
you
but I'll
can't.
give him credit for here's what I mean. So people like Will Fries, who I wanted at guard, who just came from Indy, he got what I think is a reasonable deal. Like he's getting 14 or 15 million a year. And I could see a desperate GM for the Giants saying, I'll give him 18 million. But he didn't do that. Or, I guess we'll never know if he offered it and
Right.
Fries turned it down, but he did not sign him for $18 million a year. Milton Williams, the defensive tackle from Philly, who I wanted, just signed a contract for $26 million a year, which is insane. They're
Wow.
going to really regret that because he's not that guy. He's not Aaron Donald.
Right,
He's
right.
good, but he's not that guy. But I'm saying, so Shane didn't say, gotta have him, give him 27. He didn't make the desperation moves there. Now, he might still make one at quarterback, but so far he has
Reasonable.
reasonable priced people. Javon Holland and Paulson Adebo and Darius Slayton are all, you know, they're well paid, but they're not overpaid.
He might, he might he's got to do one or the other. It's like you can't make like the big splash for Rodgers and then move up for Cam Ward at the same time.
I mean, you can, but you shouldn't.
Right. That's what I mean. I
Those two
mean,
things have nothing to do with each other, right? One of them is just money.
right.
The other one's going to be draft collateral, draft picks, draft capital. And you can do both, but I really hope he doesn't do both.
What would you do? What would you think is reasonable to move up to from 3 to 1 to get Cam Ward?
So
What
I
would you
would
offer?
say I would give a third this year and a second next year, which I think is a lot, but I would do that because and I say it's a lot because there's only two spots, right? And yes, I really want him, and he's a quarterback, and you typically overpay for a quarterback, but our team is terrible. Like we can't, if we have a really good quarterback and the team is terrible, that's not helpful either. So we can't leave ourselves in a position where we can't make the team better. So that's what I would do. I give a third and next year second, and I might even throw in a player. Like I might throw in a Micah McFadden, if they want Micah McFadden. I don't know if they want Micah McFadden, but I would throw him in. Partially because I don't really love Micah McFadden anyway. But I'm saying if it took that and a third and next year a second, I would do that.
Just to see Cam Ward in the Giants uniform would be he's gonna be running for his life, yeah, maybe, but
Which is why I want to keep that second, right? That second round pick this year to me is key because you can either there'll still be a good offensive lineman there. There'll
oh,
still be a
definitely.
good defensive lineman there. At that pick, somebody over 300 pounds that's very good will still be on the board. And we need to pick that somebody.
I think we need to pick that somebody. Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So I don't want to give that up. So if I got to give up other things around it, I will. But anyway, listen, we could talk about this all night. There's a whole lot of, and we're going to keep talking about it for the next
Oh
5 or 6
yeah.
weeks but there's a whole lot of permutations, and as one domino falls, the next one, right? So Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson seem like the two biggest names left at quarterback. Not seem like, they are the two biggest names left at quarterback. And until they sign, I'm guessing that people like Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota and Carson Wentz and Joe Flacco
Right.
will probably not sign, right? Because whoever was going to sign them would probably rather have Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers. And as long as those people are still on the board, do you sign Marcus Mariota and then 2 days later find out Aaron Rodgers wanted to come sign with you? Like,
Right. Right.
that may not make you happy. But anyway, we'll be here. We'll be here talking about it. And we're hoping you'll give us your comments, your thoughts. What do you guys think about what we've just spent 25 minutes talking about? Like, what do you think about what the Giants have done so far and what the next steps might be?
I definitely want to hear from what people think the next steps are going to be, because as you said, one, do you think, those who are viewing us now, do you think the Giants are doing how the Giants doing right now? And I mean, we like what they're doing in the backfield, defensive backfield. I really like that. So we're getting identity. I like that. Finally, get the old Big Blue identity back. That would be great. But what should they do next? Let us know. Put it in the comments.
Yes,
Drop it in the comments. Let us know.
Let us know.
And while you're doing that, you can like, share, and subscribe.
All that.
Join the Big Blue bandwagon. You know what I mean?
No. All right. So as always, Clay from Brooklyn, football with the fellas.
It's your man Mayzo. It's all about Big Blue.
Yes, sir.
Hey, it's free agent season. We're here for that. We're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about it more and more. We want to hear from you. And as always, in parting, y'all, remember. Hey, remember, don't forget this. I always want to say this to you guys. Remember, no matter if it's the regular season or if it's the off season, it's all about Big Blue.
All about Big Blue, yes, sir.
Until next time, y'all. Peace. Big shout out to El Marquis Productions, the talent behind the music and production here at Football with the Fellas. It's all about Big Blue. Their beats bring energy and excitement to every episode. El Marquis' skills in mixing, mastering, and creating top quality sound make the podcast come alive each week. For your own projects, check out elmarquisproductions.com and take your sound to the next level.